Hi, Craig. How are you?
I'm wow.
It is an honor to have you here. Imagine I don't know you.
Yeah.
Please tell me who you are and what you do.
So my name is Craig Pinkney. I wear many hats. I guess most people would be aware of me as being a criminologist, urban youth specialist, and a CEO of a group of companies called Solve.
Right.
One of them being the Centre for Youth Violence and Conflict, Solve Housing, Solve Global, and Solve Online Learning Hub.
So you've got 4 companies.
Yeah.
Repeat them for me again.
So Solve,
Yeah.
the Centre for Youth Violence and Conflict.
Right. And what does that do?
So that is a training provider that does essentially 3 things. One, working with professionals around supporting children and young people that are victims or on the periphery of violence and harm, which kind of looks at everything to do with the serious youth violence agenda,
Okay.
stuff around criminal exploitation, violence against women and girls, far-right extremism, religious terrorism, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
Our second objective is around mobilising communities, getting key stakeholders and members of the community to kind of step up and support with the burden that I talk about with often the things that are a cause of concern. And the third thing is we have a youth team that go out into schools and colleges and raise awareness and build children and young people up.
Is that part of the training company?
Yeah, so that's that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one. And number 2?
Solve Housing.
Solve Housing. Tell me
which
about that.
is Ofsted registered children's homes that we have in the West Midlands. So 24-hour care for children from the age of 7 to 15 years old.
Wow. And the third?
Solve Global, so that is our consultancy company.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of work with the Premier League, so we do a lot of stuff in sport. So we work with all the Premier League football clubs, both in academy and first team, and do loads of stuff around violence against women and girls, healthy relationships, stuff around criminal exploitation.
Right. With football teams?
All the football clubs, or Premier League football clubs.
Right. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
How does I don't understand how the two work? How the working with football teams and training or bringing awareness to them regarding.
When you
what
think
you
from
just
an
said.
academy perspective, it's regular kids from our community,
Right.
and those children also have issues and problems and concerns from mental health to safeguarding issues. You know, they're not unique in the sense of being, away from the issues of society. So there's been a number of issues, for example, where players have been released from football teams, whether they're not good enough or behaviour, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And they've ended up being in some of the things that we're worried and concerned about.
Right.
So it's getting parents to, help and guide and getting the professionals to understand contextual safeguarding. And also the players are building resilience. We know football's quite cutthroat, and it's one of those sports where you may be here one year and another year you may not necessarily be there.
Yeah.
But it's also about helping them navigate, whereas many of them are living in inner city communities. They may have to go to the training ground on the underground or catch a bus, and they may have to navigate through environments where these issues that I'm talking about. So we can't isolate the fact that just because they're playing for a football club that they're not exposed to the same things that our own families and members of society. So that's what we do with the younger players.
Right.
With the first team players, that's very much around, looking at some of the challenges within our society, addressing things like sexual violence against women and girls, looking at harassment, looking at rape. And this is not suggesting that players are doing these things, but we can't also exclude them in the conversation of what we would do with young men in schools or colleges or universities or wider communities, and they should also be involved in the conversation too.
Okay, this is amazing. And the final one?
So Solve Online Learning Hub.
Right.
So that's more of an idea of me stepping back. I can't be around the world all at once.
Yeah.
So enabling some fantastic colleagues of mine that do amazing things in a wide range of different sectors and have a wide range of different types of experience, getting those individuals to deliver, CPD for professionals, and they can do it remotely.
Okay.
So yeah, that's me in a
Wow.
nutshell.
That's all I've got to say. But I want to talk about all of your companies. But before we do, can you tell me how we even got here? So who was Craig before he started all of these companies?
Initially started off as a youth worker.
Right.
In my local community.
Why?
I come from a family of some very strong community activists. So I guess from an early age, I've always seen my uncles and aunts doing community stuff, never known what they were doing. And our family were quite well known within the Birmingham community for the things that they did. And I think it was only really after my grandma died, I probably started to pay attention a little bit more to what my uncles and aunts were doing.
Right.
And then as a young person that was, I guess, very much in tune with some of the things that was going on, I started volunteering at a young age. I wouldn't have called it youth work then. I just was doing it for money at the time. And those are the days when your mum gives you the first mobile phone and says, all right, the first bill I'll cover. And then the rest are up to you. So me working in that particular field, I guess, inspired me because, one, I left school with no GCSEs. So it was something that
Why?
I seen as an objective.
Why did you leave school with no GCSEs?
Obviously, it's something that I know now, but at the time, school didn't stimulate me.
Right.
I found myself getting very bored. I used to be a part of the Saturday school movement in Birmingham. So I used to go to Saturday school, had extra education, so it wasn't a thing about my intelligence. I felt that the teachers probably didn't understand me, how I think. And I guess now we talk about neurodivergence and we look about how people are learning and people learning differently. When we were going to school, that wasn't a thing. It was like you're not listening. Yeah. So this is what we're doing. These are the rules. So leaving school without any qualifications was a result of me being what my dad would say, the class clown.
Okay.
And then going to work, because my dad was used to say you're either working or you're either going college. There is no third option. The only third option is that you come out of my house. So I went into work.
Right.
And I remember I used to work at AAH Pharmaceuticals. It was like a warehouse. It was just packing all of the drugs that go to chemists, doctors, hospitals. That was my life. And then I was just like, this is not me.
Yeah.
What's the one thing at the time that I was doing that I liked? And that was the youth work stuff. But because I was a volunteer and I was only getting a contribution as a volunteer fee, I then had the inspiration to want to go back and do some more work. And I used to work for a local organisation that used to do community stuff in a local youth centre. And then I had some mentors at the time. And they kind of said to me that, you know what, all of your attributes should be an amazing youth worker. And then they told me how much a youth worker at that time gets paid. And I was just like, what? Sign me up to this youth work thing. But what they said was that I had to go back to college, pay attention at college. And I just kind of built myself up. And I was fortunate and privileged in the sense that, again, because of my family, someone within the family was connected to a woman that used to work for Birmingham City Council.
Right.
And she had said to my dad, she knows that I'm not in education like that, but we're part of a training provider or a training centre. And if Craig wants to do any of these courses, let him know he can get on for free. So when my dad showed me the prospectus, it was just like working with children and young people,
Right.
Managing challenging behaviour. And I just did all of the courses whilst I was at college.
Right.
So they thought that I wasn't attending because I
Right.
couldn't be bothered. But what I was doing was the 1-2 day courses.
Right.
Do you remember Record of Achievements?
Yeah, I do.
I had one of those.
Yeah.
So
The big red book.
my aim was, because I didn't have no GCSEs, I'm going to page to page.
Okay.
And that's
Fill
what
it
I
up.
did. Yeah, fill it up.
Okay. So when did you qualify as a youth worker?
So you're taking me back now. So I qualified 2009.
Okay.
2009, I did my undergrad in youth and community studies.
So from no GCSEs, you've done
College.
college, and then
University. Yeah.
How was that? How was the
Hard
experience?
because when I was at college for 4.5 years. So I was the oldest in my class because I was in class with kids that I thought was really immature. So I struggled because of their immaturity. Like, that's not even, I was one of those people, that's not even funny. Like, what are you laughing at?
Yeah. You were the mature student.
I was that person in the class. And you got to bear in mind that, and I was doing sports. at the time, those are the days where, and I still challenge parents that don't send your kids to do sports and music at colleges, because I've worked there for 9 years. And those are the courses that are easy to get in.
Yeah.
But then there's no opportunities at the end of the course. And I always used to be quite frustrated when I used to see Black and Asian boys select the course just because they like football or they want to do massage. And I used to feel like, don't do it. I was one of the guys on open day that would be like, don't do that course. So it was difficult. Being a mature student in a very immature environment, but I got through it. Going to university was a task and a challenge. So I went to De Montfort University in Leicester. That was different. Because for the first 2 years, I wasn't getting it. I didn't get this academic thing. I was there, but I wasn't there.
Yeah, I get it.
But I was inspired by Dr. Carlton Howson.
Okay.
He was at the time was probably the most articulate Black man I've ever come across. Outside of me watching individuals on YouTube or films or whatnot, and he used to just fascinate me. He used to use these words, and they'd be like, Mr. Pinkney, I know you don't know what I'm saying, but I'll say, I'll get it. Don't worry, I'm listening, and I'll get it. And I think that's what he liked about me. And then in the break times, I'd sit with him, I'd reason to get a real understanding of what he was talking about.
He was a real nerd.
Yeah, but because I knew I've always been interested in knowledge. I have since I was younger, and as I said, my struggles at school wasn't to do with my intelligence. I just wasn't stimulated.
Yeah.
But the things Carlton used to speak about were stimulating me. He used to talk a lot about race. He used to talk a lot about injustice, and those are the things that I was nurtured on as a child. So that's what connected me to Carlton.
What a blessing.
And then in my third year, I discovered that I had dyslexia. Right. Somebody came in a tutorial and was talking about, people that think and learn differently. And I think I might have heard free laptop and free funding. I think I might have just heard that part. So I put my hand up, put my name on the waiting list, went to do this test. And then they said to me things like, do you ever struggle with processing? Do you ever take longer to do these things when you're in conversation with people? Are you ever abrupt or you? I'm thinking, you know what? I've always been like this, but I just accepted it as this is just maybe the way that I am. Then they were explaining to me what dyslexia was, and there's spectrum and loads of different things. And I think at that point the penny dropped. Of this is why I've been struggling at school, at college, and now at university. And then I graduated, and it's weird because I graduated at the same time that Carlton had got like a big accolade for the work that he'd done, and me and him took a picture, and he's got my picture on his top shelf in his office. So when you talk about that nerd, he calls me his favorite student. And then I guess when I went into the field of youth work, I applied to work in my old youth centre that I used to attend as a young person.
Okay.
So I signed up as a senior youth worker.
So you qualified, what degree did you do?
So youth and community development was my undergrad.
Okay.
So I qualified as a JNC qualified youth worker. At that time, JNC was seen as the cream of the crop of youth work.
Right, so you were the creme de la creme.
Yeah, of youth work at that time.
And you started employment as a senior youth worker. So went straight to the top. And how was that experience?
It was hard because I was going back to my community.
Yeah.
And understandably, there was a lot of people that have been working in the youth centre for many years.
I'm assuming they didn't have the same training as you.
No, so there may have been part-time youth workers. So my manager would have the same qualification as me. But generally in the youth sector, you can do support.
Yeah.
You can be a full-time youth worker. But to get, I guess, a full-time job that's going to be worthy of a good salary, you're going to have to go to university and then do that JNC. So the JNC was an extra qualification. Okay. And that's what enabled me to do management type of roles.
Right.
So it was difficult because I was young.
How old were you?
21, 22.
Right, okay. That is young.
So working at the youth centre, some of the tensions were who this young boy think he is? It's all of that
imagine?
type of
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
going on.
From who? The staff?
Come out of university thinking he knows it all. But that was what it was. But why I loved that place was the culture.
Okay.
That was where I got my rites of passage.
All right, tell me about that.
Within the community that then became my study.
Right.
So I was working with a lot of young men, predominantly young black men, that were the little brothers and sisters of individuals that I used to go to school with, all grew up in the same community, which wasn't that far up the road from where I used to grow up. And you know when you do the register, thinking second name, Campbell, who's your brother? Oh my day, it was one of those. So it was a nostalgic experience being there. But why I say it was my rites of passage, because it was at that moment, or at least that period, where I got to have an understanding of how the young people in my community think.
Right.
I was watching and experiencing many of the young people that we poured so much into, and working with them at the age of 11, 12, that 4 years later watched them exploit other children and young people in the community, watch some of them take lives of other young people in the community. And that then became the inception of my why do I want to learn and know this stuff? And then that's when I did my master's degree in criminology.
Right.
So I chose a different lane. I was very clear about what I wanted to do with my master's degree. And I said, in order for me to go to university and do a master's, I want to create a niche, and that niche is going to be, I want to be one of the leading specialists in the UK around understanding black men as it relates to serious violence.
Wow.
And then that then became the journey. So I did my master's degree, did it part-time, because financially I couldn't afford to do it. Got my master's degree, and then I was given an opportunity to lecture at the University College Birmingham.
Wow. That's a great opportunity.
So that came on the back of a European project known as the EU Gangs Project.
Okay.
So I done a few lectures whilst I was working at the city council. Now this is the period when Cameron came in, and this is when youth and community centres nationally were shutting down essentially. And I guess I was quite smart, and I was able to predict what was going to happen next. So when the city council offered their first run of redundancies, I took it.
Yeah.
Didn't know what I was going to do next. As I said, it wasn't consistent, the job I was doing at the university. It was only a few lectures here and there. And then the university contacted me and said two things. One, someone's going on maternity in our department, so we're looking for a lecturer. And number two, on the gangs program, we need someone that's going to take this up full time, and the person that was leading on it didn't have the capacity to do so. And that happened to be my line manager at the time, Dr. Sangeeta Soni. So I then became the UK lead for the EU Gangs program, which meant I had the opportunity to go to places like France, Northern Ireland, Italy, Cyprus, Greece, Romania, and understand serious violence in those contexts, that I was then able to create bespoke programs for them to be able to respond to it within their context. And then what I noticed whilst being at the university, that a lot of people were paying attention to the work that I was doing. And I guess what made me stand out from a lot of people, when I think about, and we'll probably talk about this shortly, about branding, you may remember flip-top cameras. And I brought it from Carisse. It was only about £80, and it was literally USB. You'd connect it to the computer, and then you would record for about 5 minutes. So what I would do was, every incident that used to take place in our local community, if I would encounter a scholar, I'd interview them for 5 minutes. You know, what are your thoughts about this? And this is what's going on in the community. This is how I think we should respond. So when I started to put them onto social media platforms, MySpace, you know, YouTube, people were like, who's this guy, Craig from Birmingham? And I think that was the beginning of what then was to happen next.
What happened next?
People around the world then started to pay attention to what I was doing.
Wow.
So I was getting calls from America. I was getting calls from the Caribbean. And then I got invited to do some work over in Jamaica via the Ministry of Justice. A lot of entities within Washington, D.C., Chicago, Baltimore were interested in the work that I was doing. Northern Ireland were interested in some of the stuff I was doing. So then I started to realize that I have a gift, I have something to offer. And I guess what my unique selling point was, I mean, I go back to my original point about me knowing I wanted to create that niche of being a leading specialist in this particular area, is that I'm considered what is called a pracademic.
What does that mean?
So I'm an academic, but I've got that practitioner frontline experience.
Right.
And there's not many people that possess that.
Right.
So what you'll notice, you'll meet loads of academics very well versed in the data and the research and the theories. And then you meet loads of people that are on the front line doing work day in, day out. And we know who they are from our local communities and they do amazing work. But there's not many people that bridge that gap between what I call academia in the streets. So a pracademic is one of those individuals that are able to do so. So those insights that I've gathered over the years from the young men and their families that I've worked with is those insights that inspire me to be able to make better sense of what's going on in the community. And I guess that encouraged me at that time to then do some research. So myself and a colleague of mine, Dr. Shona Edwards, we done the first study in the UK that looked at the correlation between drill music and serious youth violence.
Is there a correlation?
Most definitely. And I guess one of the things we were looking at was the role of social media.
Okay.
What is it about social media? What is it about technology that's exacerbating some of the issues and tensions within local community, on top of the issues around poverty and deprivation and gentrification and, you know, dysfunctional households and lack of strong leadership and all of the nuances that come with that. All I was arguing, or what we were arguing, was what is it about social media that's creating that? So through those little bits of research, again, as you can imagine, people are now calling us to Tennessee now in America to present on these papers. And then that kind of gave me a little bit of flexibility within the university. They seen that I was going in a particular direction and I became like an ambassador essentially on behalf of the university. And I guess being at the university for 9 years felt like it went really, really quick.
That's a long time.
Did I get bored? Maybe. Doing the same modules around gangs and violence.
Well, I guess you're doing it all, but you're not helping, are you? You've moved away from your youth work, so to speak. You're not working directly with the young children.
But why I liked working in the academic space is that I had access to thousands of minds. And despite the fact that I might not be working with the children, I'm working with individuals that inspire the mind. So let's say there were 60 kids that would attend my youth centre. I now, through my knowledge at a university, can potentially get 60,000 children through imparting knowledge like what Carlton and others did with me. So after working there for 9 years, I went through a really interesting transition. One of my close friends and mentors passed away from cancer. Had an uncle that passed away from cancer roughly around the same time. I was dealing with a lot of issues at work and I just felt burnt out. And that was when I first was introduced to therapy or the therapy room. And it was interesting because when I initially did it, like with a lot of young black men, when they hear the word therapy, the first thing is, I don't want to chat my business. And I was the same, despite the fact that I'm preaching and teaching all of this type of stuff. That was very much me. And I remember going through a process with my therapist, going into December 2020. And then on January the 9th, 2020, I handed in my notice and then just said, I don't want to do this no more.
Really?
So I handed in my notice. I remember going on my lunch break.
Was it like, did the spirit just take you, or was this in the back of
So I
your
went on
mind?
holiday to clear my mind. One thing that I learned whilst being at the university, my department was the psychology department. So all of my colleagues were like, Craig, do you want to test yourself at ADHD? Because when you're in meetings, but I was very efficient when they tell me or give me an instruction. So no, I didn't get a test for it, even though I used to hear it every single week. But that's what I'm like. When I switch off from something, got to switch off. It's
like a light bulb.
It's not. There's nothing to be explained. It's just no, I'm not doing it anymore. But I've always been like that. So I'll be very efficient at something, but if I'm not stimulated about that thing anymore,
yeah, it's done.
It's done.
That sounds like ADHD.
Yeah. So I handed in my notice.
Yeah.
Manager's like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you leaving?" I just said, "Yeah, just." And she's like, "Are you sure?" You know, that HR, before she picked up the phone, I called HR. And then I went to see a friend of mine, but also a colleague.
So this was in January 2020.
2020. But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen about a week later. On the break, I go and see a colleague and friend of mine that works with the commissioning around serious violence within the West Midlands.
Okay.
So I used to sit on the scrutiny panel on behalf of the university to ensure that the money that was coming in from central government was going to the right organisations in the community.
Okay.
So I was a critical friend. So being a critical friend, when I went and told her about the fact that I've just handed in my notice, she was like, Craig, you know what, you've come at a perfect time. You've got a massive underspend. I mean, the whole of the West Midlands needs training. Would you be willing to do it? So I was like,
wow,
this is perfect timing in my head. So I was like, how much? When this woman told me the figure and said it needed to be complete within 3 months, it was at that moment I realised, what have I been doing all of these years?
I see.
Because what I would have got for 3 years worth of work, all those hours, all those assignments, all those students, I was going to get that in 3 months.
Right. I won't ask the figure.
So then
Yeah.
contacted my best friend and said, listen, what do we do with this? I don't even have an organisation name. What do I do? So we had a conversation. I called one of my mentors, Dr. Martin Glynn and Raymond Douglas. And Ray said, what's one thing that you do really well? I don't know. We all think that you're really good at solving people's problems.
Okay.
That's where solve came from.
I love that.
And then one morning I turned on the news and our Prime Minister said that there's something called COVID-19 that's now creeped into the UK at such a rapid rate, which means we're going to go into a lockdown. Then I remember all of the bookings that we had for this funding that they were going to commission us for, one by one. The emails were like, we're going to have to cancel, we're going to have to cancel, we're going to have to cancel, we're going to have to cancel. So I went into panic mode. And then I had a friend from London. And that's why it's good to know people and be kind and live good, as my parents would tell me. And she said, there's something called Zoom. If you just give me an hour of your time, I'll teach you how to use it. And I'm like, technology, I'm good at talking. I can't do the technology. She's like, listen, just give me an hour.
There's something called Zoom.
And then
That's a line.
we sat there for an hour. We messed around on this particular platform. I brought into the program and put all of the training that I was going to do face-to-face online. So we were still able to complete what the commissioners had asked us for, and we did it. That's partly the reason why I ended up with glasses, because I was just online staring at the. But that 3 months online, as well as another opportunity that came through for a friend and colleague of mine in Norfolk, because they had an issue where criminal exploitation was on the increase. Many members of staff had online and health issues, and they needed some youth workers down there to do some work. So at that particular point, I'm free now. I can just start saying some random numbers. So I sent a figure of what I want a week. I was like, okay, fine, cool. And why I'm saying this to you is because that's when I started to recognize my worth.
Yeah.
And it was at this particular period where I also had the blessing of meeting Grace Onyuwu.
Okay.
And at the time, she was the chief prosecutor for the West Midlands, and she had asked me to come in and do some training with her team. And I never forget this. She asked me how much I was going to deliver this training for. And I said £2,000, but I did it sheepishly. And she just looked at me like, £2,000? I'm thinking, why did you say it so high?
Yeah. Oh no.
And she's got her calculator and said, is that right? So she's not saying if it's right or wrong. She's just leaving me in limbo. So she called her PA up and she said, that organization that came the other day, that wasn't that great, that delivered that half-day training, not full-day training. How much did they charge? It was like 5,200, and said, you're doing it for 2,000 for a full day. So what was happening was I was experiencing these little things that people were saying that, Craig, you've got this value of knowledge, and why are you charging at these rates?
Do you know what? I think you've been incredibly lucky to have learned so quickly, because not a lot of people do.
Yeah.
It takes people years. I've spoken to some people where they've gone 3, 4, 5 years not understanding the value that they're bringing and charging way beneath what they're meant to. So, I mean, this happened for you in a few months.
I think, to respond to your question, that value has been linked to 20 years of me doing this work. It's not something I started. Even me talking about 2020, Craig Pinkney's brand was before I even had the flip top camera. Remember, I'm pushing these messages out. I'm international already. Remember, I wasn't getting paid for those things. I was doing it on behalf of the university. But one thing that I was very clear about from when I did my master's degree, that Craig Pinkney was going to be seen as the leading specialist in this area. So when I talk about value, that was more of a personal thing. I was more afraid to say a number.
Why?
Maybe because I didn't feel worthy. Maybe because I thought that I was cheating people by saying a number, but then to learn that people are charging 3, 4 times what I was charging to do the exact same thing just made me think a bit different.
And so how did it make you think differently?
It made me understand on a deeper level of what I was preaching. I had to take it away from the emotion and I had to look at it like a business model. What's the value in the market? And I was doing something, and to some extent they're doing something that most are not doing. There's not many people that are pracademics. So I had to understand that that is my unique selling point, that I'm able to bridge the gap between academia and the streets. And I need to run with that. But as you can imagine, from a business perspective, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm telling you all of this stuff and all of this is coming in, but I don't know the business stuff. And fortunately, I'm surrounded by good friends that are in different industries. So they introduced me to accountant and all of those things as well. Financial advisor, they introduced me to these things. And I guess because I'm always curious about things, I sit at the feet of individuals that know more than me. But my biggest challenge was 2 things. One, capacity, because I'm realizing it's just me. Now everybody wants me. They want me in Liverpool. They want me in Manchester. They want me in Ireland. They want me in Sweden. They want me in Jamaica. And that all sounds good when I'm saying all of these destinations.
Sounds fabulous.
But I've got to travel there. And these travel journeys are not easy. Car broke down many times. The card was declined many times, but somehow I managed to get to these destinations. And during that period, navigating COVID, I guess that also then inspired me to start thinking about, I need to start building a team. So a lot of the money that I earned from the training, I used that to then catapult into the second company, which was then the consultancy company. Solve Global was kind of birthed out of an amazing student of mine that referred me on to her best friend that happened to be the head of safeguarding at Chelsea Football Club.
Right.
And interesting enough, the referral didn't come directly from her, it came from her husband. Her husband was doing a documentary on the George Floyd situation that had happened in America. And I did it for free, didn't charge him. And he was just like, you know what, he was so grateful and thankful because he's met so many people that have charged him money that he didn't have. And I did it for free. Would I be willing to meet his wife, which works at Chelsea Football Club? So at the time, I wasn't aligning what was being said. And it was only until I met her and she was like, I've been trying to meet you for the longest. Your student is my best friend. And I'm like, oh, didn't all make sense? And then they asked, could I do a session around anti-racism within football? Because those are the things like all my earlier passions before talking about violence and stuff like that. So I was more than happy to do it. They just wanted a different voice to do it. And then they said, what else do you do? That's what I do all this stuff in schools. I do all of this training. I was like, would you do that with some of the players? And I'm like, yeah, by all means. And then at the end of the month, when I was doing some work, they posted me kindly on their website. Thank you to Craig Pinkney for coming in and doing all this work with our players and staff and all of this type of stuff. And then I got an email on LinkedIn from the head of safeguarding from the Premier League. They said they would like a meeting. You know, what's this about? What we've just seen at Chelsea's website. And I said, this is what I do. So would you be prepared to do that for the whole of the Premier League and all the clubs? And I'm like, yeah. Now, I'm not a football person. So it was interesting that that opportunity came about.
You're just getting blessings upon blessings upon blessings.
But there's something in the ether of the stuff that I'm talking about. I'm living good with people. And those blessings are coming back because I've dealt with people right. And all they're doing is returning the favor. So it's not that people are jumping out their way to do something, but they remembered, you know what? You bless my uncle. You bless my husband. You help my daughter. You help my son. And the least I can do is just open a door for a conversation. And through that blessing from working within the Premier League, as you can imagine, I'm doing loads of stuff in all of the football clubs. The money that I guess I was earning from the training as well as the consultancy stuff, I then invested that into the third company, which then became Solve Housing.
Why? Why that one?
Two reasons. Somebody had said to me that it's a space that not a lot of black organisations within the context of the West Midlands. It's overly saturated now, but at the time there's not really many black organisations that are taking lead on this stuff. Everybody's doing youth work, everybody's doing mentoring. There's not many people going into the social care space and doing Ofsted registered children's home. Everybody's doing HMOs, everybody's doing supported accommodation, and I'm not knocking any of that, but what people were saying, your skill set and your qualifications is not that, so why don't you go Ofsted? So I had a conversation with a few people, and yeah, that was kind of the thinking. So the second thing was, if you was to ask me 7 years ago, I would have said children's home, that's not my world. But now I'm becoming more business savvy. I'm starting to understand these words like investment because I'm being invited to investment meetings. I thought investment was borrowing money. You borrow your bedroom money and then you get it back. That's an investment. And I'm learning it wasn't. So I put all my money that I had into that. And
Can I
that's
just ask
how
you,
that started, yeah.
You've got two businesses going at the moment, and were you running them at a profit?
Not until I started the Premier League stuff.
Right.
So when I was doing the training, one of the things I didn't understand was overheads, and that was killing me. The traveling, I had a PA at the time. I have to pay their wages.
Yeah.
We had volunteers coming from the university. We have to pay for the office.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be paid. Then there's the subscriptions that you forget about. $230 for a subscription, £100 for this, and then it just seems like £600 keeps coming out.
Yeah.
And there's times when £600 not there.
Yeah.
You got to bear in mind that the way that the commissioning works, don't give you all of the money at front. So by the time you max the 14 grand that they've given you for the initial, you've now got to wait another 8 to 9 weeks for the other bit, and you've already started to paying out certain things.
Yeah. And this is where we talk about cash flow. And I think a lot of, especially new business owners, they don't understand the concept of cash flow and how important it is, because it can sink your business.
100%. 100%. And I think I'm glad you've presented that, because it's something that I've been pondering on for a while. And how was I able to survive, especially when I think about COVID-19. I think one, I had a niche market that I essentially catapulted myself in.
Yeah.
And two, I have to pay homage to my friends and people around me. I'm blessed. And that might be the theme that we're getting from the conversation, in the sense that I've got friends in, as I said, in different industries, football agents and stuff like that. So there's been a couple of times where I've had cash flow issues, but I've been fortunate that I can pick up the phone to one of my boys and say, yo, give me 20 grand until, and they're like, yeah, cool, no problem, because they know I'm good for it. And I'm not a person that would ask someone for something and not be able to give back. Because I'm one of those types of people. I like to practice what I preach. There's been a few dark moments in business where I'm like, nothing's not going on. It looks great, but the bank account's not there, or there's 90 grand worth of invoices that are coming in. But because I've borrowed so much, even when that money comes in now, I've only really got 30, 40 grand left. And then you've got staff salaries and all of those things that you need to consider. So
it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it was, because I feel like I was doing really well in terms of I'm being seen now. People want me for different things. People love the ideas of my services.
Yeah, you're getting booked and busy.
I didn't know this procurement thing. I didn't know about tendering, and I just thought that you do the thing and they pay you the same day. They're like, no, it's 30 days.
30 days, 60 days, 90 sometimes
days.
90 days. And then if
like,
you get the invoice wrong.
Yeah. So, and that's why I then started to learn and become accustomed to the business side.
Yeah.
So I guess as I was growing, I found like being around different circles was really good. But I want to just go back to the point about capacity. I realized that I couldn't do it alone, and I was burning out quite a lot. It started to impact on my health. But also I was dealing with personal issues as well. My auntie was battling cancer at the time. So whilst a lot of amazing things was going on, inside I wasn't great, because I've buried a lot of people to illnesses and murder and loads of things. But when you see someone as close to you, like your mum, deteriorating from cancer, it's a dragon I wouldn't wish on anyone. So going through that period was hard because I was doing so well. Yeah. And I guess I wanted my auntie to see it. So that was hard for me, navigating that with everybody telling you that you're great, but inside I didn't feel great. Because my mom...
It changed you?
100%, it did.
In what way?
I started to consider life more, the value of my life, self-care, just not tolerating things that would trigger me. And because I'm so used to this, and it's something I have to have an internal conversation with myself about, the switch off. I can switch off now. If it's not serving a purpose or any of us, then there's no point in doing it. And I don't mean to that in like a negative sense where I'm just going around and like disrespecting people, but if I feel the energy is going to create more, then I'll be the one to step away. So I've started to do more of that. I started to say no more, where I was an individual that said yes a lot, because my worry and fear has always been, and I guess why therapy was important, I don't like letting people down.
Where did that come from?
A lot of it's rooted in stuff from my childhood. And I've always just been like that. If I've made a promise that I'm coming somewhere, no matter what you tell me, it's already locked and loaded. And it's like, no matter what you're saying to me, I've already agreed it. And I've always been that type of person. So I guess.
Quite rigid.
Yeah, but that's probably because of my neurodivergence. But it's good in the sense of I get things done. I'm efficient.
Reliable.
People are happy with what I deliver. But I guess on the other side to it, it's like, but when do you get your time? And why I mentioned capacity, I guess I realized through the development of the companies that I needed more people to be helping and serving, which made me then really start to take business to a new dimension.
Oh, yeah. Because when you have to bring on staff, it's...
That's been hard, boy.
I get it.
Listen, all I will say on that is hire fast, fire faster. I went through a period where I just want my people to eat. I just want to help those that are close to me. I just want everybody to eat.
You want everyone to win.
Yeah, and some of these people would come in and they're trying to sink your ship. People are coming in late, looking you in your face like, I don't see the problem here. People are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, but looking at you like, why are you talking to me like that? Because we're supposed to be people. There'd be people in the organization that have issues with other people and prepared to do madness and don't care. But in their previous roles, in the other jobs that they had had none of this energy and behavior. And I just thought that proximity can sometimes be a problem in business. So sadly, I've had, some real hard learning points. I've had to get rid of people that I've known for years. I've had to get rid of people that are very close to me. It's not been a nice experience. I've lost friends.
Yeah.
I've lost day ones.
Yeah.
Because of miscommunication, their interpretation of something that hasn't happened, that they haven't communicated to me. And I think going through that experience of losing my auntie, I was just like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that can supersede that pain that I've gone through.
Yeah.
But it's sad because when I look at my trajectory, when I look at my journey, all I've ever wanted to do is help people.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing badness. I'm doing things that are to help and support our communities.
Yeah, but the thing is, when people see you succeeding and doing well, they can become very jealous of that rather than wanting to support and lift you higher. And I think this is why the more successful you become, the lonelier it becomes, because you realize who's there for you. Like, who is really there for you?
Yeah.
And I'm sure through this journey, having lost a lot of friends, your day ones, you've realized it was hard at the time, but you've realized who really cares about you and loves you.
Yeah. It's definitely made me more resilient. It's also made me acknowledge what's important and what's not important.
What's important?
Family, friends. I love rolling with my nan. So sometimes I say I don't really care about friends because as long as my nan is busting joke with me, I'm cool. So for me, those are the lessons that oftentimes that I kind of have learned from this process. I used to go through periods where I'm like, I just want to go back to my 9 to 5 sometimes because there wasn't that.
I was going to ask, have you ever thought, I don't want to do this anymore?
In terms of the work that I do, it's tense. People see me as the criminologist and the guy that's on the TV, and Craig does all of this type of stuff. But when you have to bury a young person, a child, you have to sit with that mum and dad and that family, and they're screaming, and you feel so helpless. That's hard. that's hard.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Feeling helpless and not having the answers is hard. So sometimes I used to be like, I just want to go back to my 9 to 5 because maybe I wouldn't have these issues and these problems. But being on this journey, and now I've embarked on a PhD, soon to become doctor. This is part of the journey. It's part of the journey. You know, I have to go into the wild and I have to soul search. I have to find new meanings. And on that journey of new meanings, the hope is that I return back to my village with new insights. And those insights, hopefully, will help the next generation.
They will. They absolutely will. Can we go back to investing in the children's home?
Yeah.
So when did you do this? What year?
2021.
Right. So you decided to embark on opening a children's home.
Yes, correct.
And was this purely from an investment point of view, or was this because you thought you could do more work with younger people?
A bit of both. When it was proposed to me, as I said, I didn't have an idea about children's homes whatsoever. But I knew that I understood safeguarding.
Yeah.
I knew I understood what care should look like because I trained social workers and people within children's services around the country. And I also knew what love looks like and should look like in a children's home. So even though it wasn't a venture that I was looking into, the components of what makes a home, that's something that I could do anyway.
Yeah, it made sense.
So me then getting a amazing consultant within our community to take lead on what the steps are. And that's one thing with me is that I don't know all of the answers, but I will bring people in that have the answers. And I'm very happy for those people to take lead. I take a really, I guess, a specific approach to leadership, and I lead from behind.
Right.
You know, I allow you with your skills, your wisdom to lead, and I stand and I'll step where you're stepping.
Right.
Because I know that you know more than me. And there's going to be environments where I know more than you. So if I tell you it's good, it's good. Where we are right now, I don't know where we are, but I trust you enough to say, Craig, this is where we're going and this is how we're moving. I'm going to trust you with it. And that's how I view business. For me, it's about the transaction of relationships, the social capital, and allowing the currency that you have with people to lead. So having an amazing consultant and an amazing team, we were able to put the things into place. So it would seem from the outside looking in is that, yo, Craig's doing everything. No, because I invested in team. I invested in the right people with the skills and the knowledge and the attributes that can bring this together. So after opening the first children's home, we did really well after 2 years, you know, had a good Ofsted inspection. And that then inspired us then to open the second home.
How long after? 2 years?
So 2 years, yeah. And then we named the second one after my auntie that had passed in between that period. So legacy is also linked to the stuff that I'm doing. And I think that my why changes when you ask the question about the children's home. Then it was about the investment, ensuring that children have proper care, having a center of excellence. But now it's about how do we continue the centers of excellence, but how do we also create legacy?
Right.
So now when I have the workers and they say, oh, I'm going to Angie's house, they don't even know who Angie is, but I smile.
You know.
Because my auntie's name's in that.
How important was your auntie to you?
Important. Sometimes it's so hard to comprehend.
Really?
And say the words, but she was an amazing human being.
How have you managed to still continue doing incredibly well and building your businesses, plus you're studying for your PhD, which is phenomenal, by the way, whilst grieving or dealing with grief? Because I'm sure there's many people who are watching who will be running a business and trying to manage grief, and they probably want to give up.
It's hard to answer the question because everybody's experiences are going to be different. For me, I always have to talk about privilege within the answer because I have the capacity to build a team. I have the finance to be able to employ workers. So to your question, how I've been able to do it, I went on a business course called Best for You.
Okay.
That was led by my financial advisor. And all it was looking at was my talent, the things I like and the things that I don't like. Also looking at my neurodiverse needs and wants and all of those things. And what was interesting was I had to write a list of all of the things I do from Monday to Sunday. All of the things I love doing, and I had to rank everything that I do from 1 to 10. And all of the things that I didn't like doing, driving, catching a train, getting up at 5 o'clock to get to London. He then said, you need to start delegating all of that to an individual. So I thought in business, you should employ just these people that do so many different jobs. But now when I employ people that, one, understand my neurodiverse mind, but two, are able to do all of the things that I don't like doing.
Right.
So the structure of my week enables me to, if you want to say, to grieve and to have my moments. So I have 3 money-making days throughout the week. I have 2 reflection days. I have 1 day where I'm just doing whatever, whether that's meetings or seeing people. And then on the weekends, I can do what I want to do.
Right.
And that structure works for me, but may not necessarily work for somebody that is viewing this. So, you know, on a day where I feel like I just need to be, I might go to the cemetery, I might sit with my nan, I might sit with someone that reminds me of my auntie or reminds me of one of my loved ones that has sadly passed. But that works for me. And I would assume a lot of the viewers that watch these conversations, they probably don't have the capacity to have 2-3 days and a break and whatnot. But that works for me is because I've developed such capacity that, remember, it's not just me that delivers.
Yeah.
I've got other facilitators. We've got a youth team. We've got head of operations now. Whereas if you asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have probably said, I'm burnt out. I can't do this no more. And I may have had a different perspective, because those days when I was watching my auntie go through what she was going through were some real dark times. Real dark times.
Can we just go back on this team, building a team?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are scared to hire, because when you own your business, you really don't know when the next invoice is coming, when the next sale is coming in, really. And you could have an amazing 6 months or even an amazing year, and you know in the back of your mind anything could happen. So it makes you hesitant.
Yeah.
So you try and do everything yourself.
Yes.
But what I've found personally is if you try and do everything yourself, you're going to get burnt out.
100%.
And then the business never scales.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
How can you relay to somebody who is trying to do everything themselves, scared of hiring because they feel like they can't afford that extra 20,000 a year, or you know, what would you say to them? Why is it so important?
It does make you scale, and you've got to take the risk. You know, a true entrepreneur takes risks. So I say you're not a true entrepreneur if you don't take calculated risks, and that is a risk. And you thinking that by doing everything and holding onto your baby is going to be the thing that keeps you sustainable, it's not. By employing someone actually relinquishes a lot of the things. So as I said, me having 2 days where I can think of new ventures, new activities, and it may not seem like the money's coming in this moment, but if I've got someone that's on admin and invoices every day when I can't do that because I'm teaching or I'm delivering a workshop, that means the invoices are coming on time, number one, and any last minute bookings, there's someone that's able to say, yeah, we actually can be there tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So actually in long term, you'll start to recognize that there are opportunities for scalability. And me at the time when I employed 3 people at once, I was like, I don't have no money in my account. Within 6 months, we were turning over, double figures quickly.
Yeah.
And that was just because we've got somebody on finance, we've got somebody on emails, and then we've got someone else now that does all my meetings. So I don't need to be there no more. I just attended the important ones.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But I know the fear. I personally know the fear.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's not just your bills you have to find. And then it's not just the business overheads. It's now somebody's relying on you.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess
It's a lot.
I've been one of those bosses, if you want to use that term. I understand the struggles. I understand what people go through. So my philosophy always is that I get paid last. So 27th of every month, try no. Money's going to be in that account to pay my staff.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to be in a situation where a member of staff of mine says, Craig, we didn't get paid this morning. And I'm in a conversation with them about, we have to wait 24 hours. And because when I worked at the university, I never spoke to the principal, but I got paid on the 27th of every single month. So with that mindset, what I do with my team is getting them to understand the why it's so important that in the morning between 9 and 11 o'clock, that's why the invoices need to go out and that's why they need to be chased. Because it's not about me, it's about us. So having that flexibility to be able to enable a team to be able to do that actually gets results a whole lot quicker. So I get the fear, I get the anxiety. And that was one of the things that I experienced during the course that I was on. So I had to write a letter to 50 people that I knew and ask them about my strengths and my weaknesses. And all of them said the same thing. Craig, you don't trust nobody enough to allow yourself to fly. So I had to acknowledge that trust.
Yeah.
And then I had to run with it. And one of the first activities that I did was, I remember them saying, Craig, why don't you get a driver for a week? And in my head, I'm thinking, a driver? I can't afford no driver for the week. So I said, why don't you just do it for 2 days and see what happens? And I did it for 2 days. And it was funny because when I met back with them, they said, how was your 2 days with that driver? I said, it was amazing. I said, why? I said, I managed to sleep. I answered all my WhatsApp messages to families and friends that say that I'm ignoring them. And also answered all my emails. And I was able to meet the girls in the office on WhatsApp and tell them what I needed them to do for the next 3 days moving forward. So what I learned was we get hung up on the money aspect, but what we're not thinking about is efficiency. If I was able to do that on a 2-hour journey from Staffordshire to another city, I've got so much done. And I was able to get a nap because normally without that, I'd be doing my work throughout the day because I would need to travel, catch the train, jumping on and off the train. Then I need to deliver. Then I need to eat. And by the time you're getting home, there's 62 emails in the inbox. And it's just like the team are asking for responses on, and you're just dealing with that tomorrow. Or you're staying up really, really, really late and then you don't get proper sleep and then you get the ripple effect. So by the time Friday comes,
you're exhausted.
Yeah. I love my weeks. There's not one day I say that I look forward to. I don't think I've said that in years. I look forward to the weekend because what's there to look forward to? Because I've got my Wednesday and Thursday to chill. But I have the Wednesday and Thursday to chill because I've invested in the team.
Yeah. And you've already been burnt out before, so you know. Yeah.
And I've been at the worst stages of burnt out. I've been in hospital a number of times.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Burnout is not, it's not a joke. Yeah. And every single business owner I've spoken to has experienced it. Yeah. More than once. And you do have to find you have to find your balance.
You have to find your own self-care routine as well.
You do. Yeah. So you opened up the second home.
Yes.
2 years later.
Yeah.
So when would that have been? 2023, 2024?
2023, yeah.
And how's that going?
Amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And is there plans to open up a third?
I'm in a weird transition at the minute. I don't know what I'm trying to do. I've never been a person about opening up loads of homes. I like small with quality as opposed to quantity. I like the idea of excellence. And I think the problem or the tension of what I'm probably presenting right now is the social care sector is not great for professionals. And because I'm coming out of youth and community, where the standard of skill set is quite high, because of how I've been trained, but it's also to do with the pay across the sector as well. Yeah. So any organization that has good workers, them workers ain't trying to leave. Yeah. And that's probably one of the issues that I'd oftentimes have.
Finding good staff.
Finding good staff and retaining good staff.
Yeah.
With all the incentives in the world, unless you're aspiring to be, assistant, registered manager. I get it. I understand it. Yeah. So oftentimes the people that are working in the homes, and this is not just what we do, but in other places, you tend to find it's individuals that may be just at university and they're just trying to pass the time. Yeah. Whereas
they're not invested.
The youth workers that work for the other company, they're qualified, they know what they're doing, they're trauma informed, and of course we can teach and upskill professionals, but it's just not the same level of negotiation, mediation, thinking about different creative ways to engage, whether it's arts, music, poetry. They just don't come with that type of, arsenal to be able to do certain things. So I think that's the tension that I have. So opening up another one, I always think about what's the quality of staff going to be first.
Right. That's really interesting. Yeah. When do you finish your PhD?
So I aim to submit within the next 6 months.
Right.
And then after that, if they are happy with what I'm doing, then I would submit it as an actual submission, and I'll go for my viva, which I then have to defend my PhD, and then I'll know. So my intention is within the next 12 months.
Right. So we should be able to call you doctor.
Yeah, you can call me now if you want. Speak into existence, as they say.
I will. I can't believe we're coming to the end of the conversation. It's flown by. I knew an hour wouldn't be long enough because I have so many more questions to ask you. But maybe you can come back. And we can have a further conversation. Before we go, would you mind providing one tip to pass on to other entrepreneurs that you think is vital and would help them on their entrepreneurial journey?
Self-discovery. Try to ascertain what makes you stand out from the rest. And then think about and consider, is this just passion, or is this something that I can utilize in order to monetize that's going to enable me to, one, create impact, but two, enable me to grow and thrive. But within that, also being able to help feed, secure the stuff that's going on in your own world. I think a lot of us get into this world or get into this work thinking that everything is about passion. I want to do this work because I'm passionate, but is it a model that works? And I say that because I meet a lot of aspiring mentors and aspiring community workers, and the things that they want to do out of passion is not sustainable within business because schools don't have money. So if schools don't have money to pay you, and your competition's going to be organizations that have been doing mentoring for 10 years that are attached to research centers that can provide data. When you come against these individuals, when the commissioners are offering money, you're going to get blown out of the park. So sometimes it's about looking at the field, what's going on, what's missing, where are the gaps, and ascertaining what that is that you like doing, and asking yourself that question: is this just a passion, or is this something that I actually can engage in with the passion that I'm going to be able to monetize, that I can scale a business or scale a company? And I guess I'll leave you with the 3 I's. Impact, influence, income. If you create a big enough impact, by default, people are going to follow your movement. They're going to follow what you've got to say, and then the money will come. But if you go into something thinking income without no impact and no influence, that's probably the reason why a lot of people are asking you these types of questions, because they're thinking money first. And that's why when you've asked me those questions, I haven't spoke much about the money. I want a center of excellence, because that's what Craig's known for, creating centers of excellence. And all of a sudden, services around the world are saying, can we tap into that? Can we be a part of your training? Today, we've just had people from Australia travel around just to see me work. Maybe I'll get a job in Australia next year. Who knows? But I know it comes because I create centers of excellence. And that needs to be the mindset of how we move forward and surviving in this capitalist society.